As I was thinking about what we are doing, it really is an opportunity for people to connect with their beingness. We are not conscious of the compartmentalization. We just say, this is who I am, right? Who you are is different depending on the environment that you find yourself in or the people that you find yourself connected with. So I hold myself out as an example. At 71 years old, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey to self-acceptance. And I think it may be that way for many of us, that we look at the pieces of ourselves and decide, I can show that. No, I can't show that. Is there a danger? How deep is the danger? As I was thinking about what we are doing, it really is an opportunity for people to connect with their beingness. We are not conscious of the compartmentalization. We just say, this is who I am, right? Who you are is different depending on the environment that you find yourself in or the people that you find yourself connected with. So I hold myself out as an example. At 71 years old, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey to self-acceptance. And I think it may be that way for many of us, that we look at the pieces of ourselves and decide, I can show that. No, I can't show that. Is there a danger? How deep is the danger if I show you all of me? Oh, I can show these people this part of me, and these people this part of me, and these people this part of me. And then the question is, how long before you get tired of just compartmentalizing your beingness?
Oh my God.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Man. So today I just looked down. It's 1, 2, 3, right? It's 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 0, 2, 3. Welcome to the late night happy hour with Carrie Irene and Dr. Sue. Well, we just jump on here and whatever comes up
comes out.
So we're just gonna jump right into it today because it's 8:40 p.m. and I don't know where you are in the world or what you're doing or what time it is where you are. But right now, if you are seeing us, it is time to settle down. It is time to get some paper.
Grab your drinks, y'all. I got mine.
It's actually water in here too. I had coffee, but I finished the coffee. This is actually water. It is time to settle down. And it is time to open up. And it is time to filter. It's just time to filter. Filter out what is not serving your highest good. It's got to go. What supports your expansion gets to stay. And there are no doors that have to be opened or closed because we are trusting in the alignment that everything that's supposed to be here stays. You hear me? Okay. Okay. So, Dr. Sue, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm feeling in a really silly mood right now. I don't know where that came from, but hey, y'all, I'm here. I wanted I wanted to play my flute for you, but we couldn't get the sound right because I got this thing on my end. We dare not touch the sound. That we're not messing with the sound, so y'all have to hear me another day. But
Ooh, let me tell you something. That sound tonight. What's up, Monique? Monique. You know, my sister, if I would watch as much as I can, then the replay. I see you, Dr. Sue. Sue, Sue.
Monique. So
Sue, Sue. Go ahead. Go ahead. You bring us in.
we're gonna pick up on that conversation that you and I were having. Was it yesterday? Right?
Yep.
Oh, you got all your notes. I don't have mine, but that's where we're
Yep.
going to pick up. And for we talked about so much.
Oh man, did we?
We
I
we
mean, I
we
was
can
on that
never just talk about
night.
one thing, y'all. We say
Everything.
bye, and then we say okay, and this and this. Bye, okay, and this and this.
I think they call that a southern goodbye.
I think we
Yeah,
were
that's
on
a
the phone
southern
yesterday.
goodbye.
What about 3 hours
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah. It
least?
was a hot minute. Yeah, it was. But it was so good. Man, it was so good. And it was just one of those it's one of those conversations where we didn't have any type of, aim when we got on the phone because originally we were just gonna meet up for coffee. We were gonna jump on a phone call, have some coffee, have a conversation, and get the day started.
Yeah.
But we always know that when we show up in each other's presence, things
Stuff
are
is
gonna
gonna come
happen.
out.
What comes up comes out.
So, y'all,
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about self-actualization,
Mhm.
and that's as compared or as opposed to self-achievement, right? So,
Mhm.
in this life on this earth plane, the way most of us are raised is to focus outside of ourselves, externally, looking at goals to achieve, and we kind of check them off one by one and we do that. And when we do that in order to know whether or not we are successful, we check off kindergarten. Not anymore. We check off daycare. Oh, let me back up. We check off, can your child read at age 2? Duh. uh are they master artists at age 4? Are they? If not, they're behind, so that's quote unquote kind of a failure, right? And we check off kindergarten and first grade and right on up through, oh, you didn't go to college? Well, what's wrong with you, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we do all these things that, who tells us to do them, right? Mama, daddy, grandmama, granddaddy, brothers, sisters, friends, the church, the government, society. All of these people have all of these standards, and they are all outside of us. And we go through life checking off the boxes. It's like we're chasing the dream and checking off the boxes. And when we get whatever the dream is, it's like sand in our hands because the joy that we get from it usually does not last. I'm telling my story, y'all. I'm telling my story. I ain't talking about y'all because y'all probably have joy and stay there for a long time. But as you know, I tell all my business. So I'm telling my business, right?
Business.
Just I'm just telling my business because I spent a lifetime chasing after the dream. Now, if you ask me, have I been successful? Certainly, by human standards, I have been extremely successful. But what was missing? Oh, you mean there was something missing, Dr. Sue? Something missing? But you got a law degree, you got a PhD, you got a master's degree, you got a couple of bachelor's degrees, you got all these certificates, you got all these. You mean something was missing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was that thing that I didn't even know what it was. How many of y'all can relate to having that thing that you know that there's something more, You just can't put a name to it. And you keep reaching, trying to find it. Can't put a name to it. You know what? I spent all of this time looking on the outside. And guess what? Looking in the wrong place, looking in the wrong space. So what was missing was me. What was missing was me. Me in being totally connected to the higher power that exists within me. Me, right? And it took me, I'm just going to tell you about my life. It took me going through some stuff. That ain't what I want to say, but I'm trying to be respectful, y'all. Christmas is Christmas
Shit.
is in a couple of days, so I'm trying to
You
be.
want to say shit, y'all.
But my life took me through some stuff. Through some stuff.
Mhm.
I've been knocked down, I've been kicked, and people from the outside, they look at me and they go, "Oh, Dr. Sue, your life is perfect. You don't know, no, you don't know my story. You don't know my story, so don't try to step in my shoes and tell me who I be." Right?
Right.
I spent a lifetime looking for this thing I, by the world standards, should have had it, but I didn't. And as I said, when I finally figured out what the it was, I didn't have a relationship with me. I didn't know about loving me. I didn't know what that meant, y'all. I should know
Mhm.
that, right? But who teaches you about self love? I should know about looking beyond the materialistic things. Now, intellectually, I'm pretty smart. I know that. But there is a disjuncture between what you know here and what you know here many times. It is
Okay, let's
what I needed to know in my heart, that connection there, that's what I didn't have. And that's what I was looking for. So we're going to call that. Oh, before I get there, I'll tell you once that I was, some of you may or may not know. In another lifetime, I was the first police legal advisor for the Tallahassee, Florida Police Department. 500 plus law enforcement officers, and it was my job to advise them on operations throughout, well, everything within the department. And I remember I had been there for some time. I probably had been there about 7 years, and I'm having this conversation with the chief of police because I want to do more. I'm not even asking for additional pay. And I remember saying to him, I don't even want, I'm not asking for a raise or anything. I just want to do more. I thought I wanted to do more work.
yeah.
I thought I wanted to do more of the legal work. I
Y'all
said,
better tell your entrepreneur friends.
yeah,
Tell your entrepreneur friends, okay? We're always trying to do more work. Get
yeah,
more. Go ahead, Dr. Sue. Go ahead.
that's what I thought it was. But the chief said to me, "Why is it that you feel like?" No, he said first. He said, "You got a cush job. Your job is easy. I don't harass you. You come to work when you want to. You leave when you want to. You get paid a nice salary. Nobody harasses you. You basically do what you want to. You call your own shots. Why are you trying to go for self-actualization?" That's what we're talking about, y'all. Self-actualization, being your highest self, doing that thing that you know God is calling you to do, but you may not be able to put a name to it. And you don't, many times, don't know how to get there. I just knew that there was a burning thing inside of me that wanted more and more and more. And I was looking at the standards that the world imposed. The world said, do more work, get another degree, get a certification in this. The chief said, why you want self-actualization? Now, I have to tell you, the chief was a white man. So I ain't prejudiced, y'all, but I'm just going to tell you the real deal is based on my history and my experience. What? What? You got it. Why can't I have it? And that's exactly what I said to him. You have it. Why can't I have it? Who are you to put me in a box? Who are you? Who are you to tell me what I should or should not have, what I should or should not be happy with? But you know what? Now, I left that, and that was one of the reasons I went on to get a PhD, because again, my mind was all messed up thinking that I needed to get something outside of me.
Right.
So how about a part of, this is the big part of the problem with all of that, because despite everything that I achieved, it was my view of myself, my self-concept, lack of self-worth, my lack of self-esteem, my lack of, even though I accomplished these things, I didn't believe that I was worthy. We're talking about self-actualization, y'all. You can't build, you can't reach self-actualization if you're building on a faulty foundation.
Right.
That's the prelude to this discussion. And I know, as usual, I get excited, but I'm going to
You
turn it
should
over
be.
to.
I mean, if you don't get excited about self-actualization, you haven't met it yet. That's all I gotta say about that. What's up, Shay? She said, I always say that I want to exhaust my potential, but it's not about accolades. It's really not outside of me. You got that right. And it's
Absolutely.
like from the inside out forward, it's the way of a seed. A seed, okay. Oof. I gotta
Take
take a
your time,
breath.
girl.
I,
Take
I
your time.
see, I see. I just saw a whole bunch of trees shoot up. Okay. When you think about a seed, any seed, it doesn't matter the plant, it doesn't matter the thing, it doesn't matter the fruit. What matters is that something that small had all of that inside of it. And the one thing that truly separates us from plants, they don't know not to grow. If you I told this story once, and when I was living in the Surfside, I had these aloe plants, and then we had a frost, and all of them were dying, and it was just one last one that I was like, "Hold on, just hold on." And I was like finally, I was just like, "It's not," 'cause it had got gooky, it got, like, and I was just like, "Let me just throw it outside, whatever." And I threw that thing outside, and where it landed like on kind of marsh. There was no grass, and then under the marsh it was sand because I lived at the beach. And then, and then the dirt was mixed with sand, so it really didn't have too much of a chance. So I just threw it out there to decay, because it's aloe. It ain't gonna hurt anything. And I would walk by, going to work, and I look and it's still gooky. I walk up, going to work, and it's still gooky. I walked by that thing for over a week, and it was still gooky. And then something happened. Something started to grow. Just this little bitty, piece, and I'm just thinking, I don't know if I'll be able to reroot it because I in my head, just being real, I didn't wanna replant it and go through all that again, and then, it's getting then it's throw it out again, and then watch it again, then you know what I mean? But I was like, "But I wanna make sure that if it's not done growing, Imma give it its best chance." And I went and threw it into ground that was more apt for growing instead of taking it back in the house and this and that. And I don't know to this day if that thing grew, but I like to believe that it did because it didn't know not to grow. We as human beings think there's somewhere to be, somewhere to go, some plateau to hit, something to prove. It's not in the it's not in the destination. It's in the journey. And another word for journey is growing. We're
Yeah.
expanding, we're growing because as you grow, you move, your position changes, you learn new things, you expand, you adapt. And that's how we are. Like, when you feel that frustration in life, or and sometimes it doesn't feel like anxiety. Sometimes it feel like boredom. Sometimes I feel like I'm just unsettled. I don't know why my sleeping is off. I just don't, I don't feel like I'm getting peaceful rest. Your whatever is in you is energy, right? Energy can't be destroyed, just can be transferred, right? All that energy that's not pouring out of you is stirring inside of you. It's still there. You have potential to grow. Every possibility that there is still lives within you, whether you do anything with it or not. But if you allow yourself to just continuously expand in the areas of that pulls you, the things that light you up, the things that makes you feel like get up in the morning, the things that you don't sleep and you're still rested the next day. How many people been up all night and you get up the next day thinking you're gonna be but because you have a mission and you're ready to get something done, you got all the energy in the world.
Yeah.
Michael A. Taylor tells a story about a guy in the Untethered Soul. And he says, a guy had just broke up with the love of his life. She dumped him for somebody else, and he's miserable. He's depressed. He's not going to work. There's pizza boxes everywhere. There's soda spilled. He ain't took a bath for weeks. He ain't shaved. He looking a hot mess. Like, I can't even do this. And then the phone rings, and it's his ex-girlfriend talking about how stupid she was, how dumb she was, how she regrets the decision to break up with him, and can she come over? And in an instant, he jumps up, cleans the whole house. What took him weeks to mess up took him an instant to clean when he decided that he would. And where did the energy come from? He didn't go pull it out of the sky. He had it all along. He chose to let it be dormant, and that's what depression is. It's such depressed energy that has nowhere to go, nowhere to go. And that's another thing of self-actualization. It's growing. It's allowing that's that pod to break. You know, it allows the thing to stretch. You know, that's when we get our spiritual elasticity. Is when we constantly just go a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. So yeah, that's what I got on it so far, Dr. Sue. You have to take them deeper. Take them deeper.
Well, as you were talking, I was totally agreeing, and I read Michael Singer's work. You know, I love Untethered Soul as well. And I was thinking that I agree with him. I agree with him. I agree with you. I agree with me. And at the same time, I'm very aware that not everyone has this exposure and or this awareness. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about self-actualization, honestly, I would venture to say, I don't say this from a place of condescension, but I would venture to say that a lot of people have no clue what that is. But it really, who was it that said your highest potential? It is about reaching your highest human potential. But for me, it's about more than that. It is reaching your highest potential and doing so in a way that is in alignment with your spiritual self, in alignment with your calling, in alignment with your relationship with the creator that you believe in, not the one that I believe in, because you may not believe in what I believe in. Reality is that there's only one. So when you are in total alignment with that, it is a calling that comes from deep within you. See, you can make all the money, you can have the titles, you can have the position, but none of that may be your calling. The calling comes from within. And that is that thing. It is like an unquenchable thirst. It is a desire that drives you. It is like heat, like fire that consumes a forest. You cannot quench it, no matter what kind of, how much water you put on it, no matter what you take, you can't quench it. It will continue to call you until the calling is satisfied. When the calling is satisfied, then you're in that state of actualization. But in order to get there, you got to deal with what? Those limiting beliefs. Society has laid so many limiting beliefs on us, and most of them we believe, we internalize them. It is a process that starts even before we're born with the labeling, right? Labeling of who we be, how we're supposed to be, and all of that. You know, I grant that in a few cases, relatively speaking, there are parents who are speaking life into their children and really seriously and telling them and that they can be anyone, anything, that they are actually supporting the self-actualization process. There are some parents who do that, but that, in my experience, is not the norm. And so I'm talking to the people who have not had that experience, because that was my experience. It wasn't that my mama didn't love me. My mama did love me. Now, my daddy, that's a different story. But I'm talking about my mama, because my mama was mama and daddy. And I know that some of y'all can relate to that, right? So, but here's the thing. My mama was also going according to her programming, which was based on her experience and the programming of my grandmama. And now my grandmama and my mama picked cotton in the cotton fields of Alabama. So I'm telling you, that's a whole different mindset than my experience. Because of my mom's experience, for her, it was about getting an education. And she would say this many times, getting education and get as much as you can. Now, my mama was a Christian woman and she believed in God, but we didn't have the same spiritual beliefs. We didn't have the same spiritual beliefs. For me to sit before you tonight, I had to go on my own journey. That wasn't something that my mama could do for me. And I am not in any way minimizing my mama's faith. minimizing her spirituality. I'm just saying that we have different views, same destination, same creator, just a different way of getting there, a different way of connecting with the God that is in me, right? Yeah. And that is what we all have to do in order to develop the inner strength. This isn't this self-actualization. It is an inside out job rather than an outside in, because the outside will tell you all kinds of things, show you all kinds of things, but they ain't real, right? They're not real in the sense that they're never going to quench or satisfy the internal calling. You can become the president of the United States, you can become an astronaut, you can become whatever. Unless that is your calling, it will not satisfy you. So self-actualization, it's huge. And it applies to everyone. The process applies to everyone, male and female. But I want to talk for just a moment to the women, because men, by and large, now the story for men of color is a little bit different, but in general, there is a male power that is still very prevalent, regardless of your race or ethnicity. And so the difference between males and females is that in terms of this process, many times we're being guided into a different, how do you say, on a different track, a different way of being. We're being, there is this highly masculinized, what I would say, hierarchy of achievements. And that's what we're being directed toward, right? All of these are external to us. Get the job. And many times they're external to us, and they are, the goals that we're striving for are goals that are in support of the male power structure. So what I'm talking about with regard to women is we got to turn inward and find out what is our feminine power that makes us different, that also makes us strong. It doesn't minimize the masculine power structure, but it empowers us to go further, to dig deeper, to go higher, to become who we truly are intended to be, and do so from a place of unapologeticness. This is who I be. This is who God called me to be. I'm here to do great things, because I think we all are. And I'll share with you something that I haven't shared with many people. I'm very intuitive. Several years ago, this would be around 2018, what God said to me, and you all can think whatever you want, but I'll just tell you what God said to me and showed me very clearly that I am raising an army of women who are going to be very powerful and who are going to make changes at the collective level. I believe that. And as I look around, the changes won't come in terms of your external traditional achievements. You're going to have that internal connection with source in order to have the power that you need to go forth and do the things that are needed to be done in order to support yourself and to uplift humanity. So I believe that really, in terms of why we are here, that is a part of our purpose. Carrie, I'm speaking for you with all due respect.
Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead. I'm gonna go to Shay's comment, and then I'm gonna go to this other comment. We do understand that there's a little feedback. Just bear with us and ignore the echo. We hear it too. Trust me, we hear it too. But Shay says, I find that self-actualization calls for a period of isolation. Let me unplug this.
Right. I agree, Shay. Doesn't mean you have to go into the desert, but you do have to separate yourself from the masses.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And then this one, I wasn't sure who wrote this because it says Facebook user. And whoever it is, if you put your name in the comments and explain what you mean. They said it sounds like you're discussing personal experiences and relationship with your mother and daughter. Because I'm not sure what they're talking about, because she doesn't have a daughter. If you have a specific question or topic you like to explore or talk about, please share more details, and I do my best to provide relevant information and insight. And I didn't know if that was for someone in the audience or if that was for us. So I was just wanting some clarification with that comment. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, you are speaking for me saying that is why we're here. We're not here. Well, I'm not even talking about what we're not here for. We are here to truly create a space and set a stage for whatever resonating with you has a place to grow or to begin or to continue or to come to a conclusion. That's it and that's all. Those three things. We want to spark ideas, support ideas, or conclude ideas in any way, shape, or fashion that you want. It could be, something that we hear that solidifies that you don't agree. That's self-actualization. Because when Dr. Sue is talking about is from within, it goes out, what I see and what I feel is that, because the other day I said 13.8 billion years, I meant that's how long the earth was here. But there's 7 billion people. So I wrote it down somewhere, 7.8 billion people in the world. So if everything on the outside has been influenced by everything on the outside, everything on the outside is true if only you can back it back to what created that vibration. So if it's true for you and you can go back to what created the vibration of you, it had to have come from the inside. So you can't rely on the outside, which has been, if it's going from the inside out, right, and it's already out here, everything out here came from the inside of somebody else. So if you're going by the things you're hearing out here, you are going by 7.8 billion different opinions of how out here should be. But if you can figure out how you want out here to be, then you can dictate a path to where you'll see at least more of that. If you take from the out and bring it in, even if it's your idea to choose to do what someone else wanted to do, it's still contaminated if you didn't choose to do it before they told you to. It can still be the right path for you, but it's got to be because it's your decision, not your cultivation of what someone else told you to do because they were right before, or because they're an authority figure, or they're popular, they're famous, all those things. A lot of advice we take, let a celebrity get on YouTube and post something about some skincare. We trying it. You know what I mean? And it ain't no other reason than the fact that they got a popular sponsor. That person probably didn't grow with that company, probably didn't stick with that company, and probably only wore it a month or two after they did the shoot because they got free samples. And we base our decisions on just stuff that we see by mere habitual attraction. There's the law of attraction, then there's habitual attraction, the shiny thing, the sparkly thing, the fast thing, the quick thing. This right here, it ain't nothing quick about this because it's eternal. You don't have to speed it up nor slow it down. You just got to listen to it. And you got to allow it to happen and allow it to grow and expand within yourself so that it influences out here in a way that it influences your reality. That's what true manifestation is. It affects your reality in so much of a way that what you see in the orb that you build around you become your universe looks a certain kind of way. And the things that you don't so much like, you may see them, but they're on the outskirts, baby. They're on the outskirts because you have built your reality the way you want. It doesn't mean that these outside things don't affect you, but they don't shake you. They don't change you. You go through what you go through and you continue on. In online conversations, roles can shift, but remember, in the digital world, we can all take on different roles, such as in life. The relationship we build are what matters most. And the main relationship is with yourself. It's the only relationship that even matters because that affects everything and everything you have a relationship with on the outside. Because you can't have a relationship with anyone without you. Now, they can have relationships without you, but they can't have a relationship with you without you. So if you can't bring your actualized self that is sure of who they are, when you have that relationship with someone else, it's not a matter of sharing at this point. It's like, give and take. We say give and take. I don't really think that's a good idea. You be you, let them be them, and then you take the experience of the matter and shift if you must or if you want to. But not because you met them, but because you saw something within the experience of being with them. Don't attach the person to the lesson. Don't attach the person to the shift. But a lot of times we do, inadvertently. I'm not saying you go out there and say, okay, who am I going to mimic today? But be around somebody long enough and see, don't you let out a laugh randomly like they laugh. Like, oh my God, where did I get? Well, I just laugh like such and such, Or you start to do habits like certain people. Like, say you stay, you have a roommate or something like that, and they do something a certain kind of way, and it don't matter to you, but they like it that way. And all of a sudden, you move, you in your own place, and you still doing it that way. Just habitually. I mean, not to say that's a big deal, but it's still the way life tends to work. We think a lot of these things that we pick up from people don't matter, but it does taint our own self-actualization. Because if you want to be like them, make sure it's because it fits you, not because you're like, oh, I want to do that. You know what I mean? Do you feel the different energy of it, Dr. Sue?
I do, and I'm assuming that the initial comment about the daughter, the mother, was referring to my story.
Right.
Okay, correctly or incorrectly. I'm also assuming that person may not have been on our show before.
Right.
So I just clarify that each one of the ways we through telling stories. And I tell a lot of stories. And I choose to judge other people, but to use myself as an example. And so there's no, it's not that I am assistance or if you have a comment that you would want to share, certainly appreciate it because it's the important thing is I'm not trying to convince anything. I'm very, very, very who I am. Very happy in the space. It's a long and a lot of hard work to get there. But what we do is use my and also share. So these are things that may not agree. That is take what you if you want it and leave it. And we're still because we're to be light, to share ideas and to support individuals.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm on my phone and I want to see who this is. Like, who is it? I can't hear you really good. Your sound's going in there.
The feedback was it's bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Y'all, we apologize for the feedback, but I don't know, the topic is burning, and I feel like the feedback and everything, y'all don't even know what we did before we came on here. Not to mention when the opening video was on, I went off. I don't even know if Dr. Sue even noticed. I had to go back out and come back in while the video was playing in the beginning. I don't know if it froze. I hope not. But yeah, we've been having some technical issues, but it's all right. I think it's the energy. The energy is high. The moon is swelling. We're almost at a full moon. Mercury's in retrograde. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. But we're here nonetheless, and we're here because of the fact of conversations like this and comments, so that we can just share in just this space of open and authenticity, which is what self-actualization is all about. See, that's why I want to know who this is, because I'm not sure what they're referring to. Right?
I have no idea.
I don't need to get. We'll find out in a little bit. But let's go to one of these notes here, because we come, let's see, 39 minutes. We'll be good. I just want to talk about this right quick. When we were talking yesterday, and we started talking about the self-actualization, you mentioned three things that stood out to me, and you said it like them in kind of the reverse order, because you started with how we need to start getting curious about the possibilities and the potential we had. But then you backed into, in order to do that, we got to unlearn some things. And then we backed into, and that starts with self-awareness. So let's start there. Let's start with self-awareness and then go back down to unlearn, and then go back down to the power you get to when you get in that curious phase, because that's your manifestation phase. So when you get to that awareness piece, let's just talk a little bit about awareness.
I think we've been talking about it without labeling it as such. And we've been talking about it perhaps from a negative, in that the gist of what I was saying, I think, as in retrospect, is that we're not aware. We're not aware. And so to flip that into a more positive statement, I think that we must begin to, and here's where the curiosity comes in, begin to question what you see, question what you think you know, question who you be, how you be, question who you want to be. Usually it takes something happens. We're rolling along through life and we're just fine, and then something happens that causes us to question much of what we think we know. It may be that there is maybe we're in an accident, maybe there's a death of someone significant, maybe we fail a grade in a class that we thought we had it all going on, and it causes us to question. If you fail a grade, fail an exam, dang, I thought I was smarter than that. And so we then began to tap into, to many times to focus on these beliefs, that negative beliefs often about ourselves. And so the awareness comes in when you realize that, as you begin to realize that there's a different perspective. Maybe there is something that I don't know. Maybe there is something else. Maybe there's another explanation than the one that I think that I've been brought up to believe. Because everything is spiritual based with the conversation. I remember, for instance, as a child asking, well, where is God? And I remember asking many adults, my mom, the pastor, and it was so interesting that when I would ask that question, they would say, God is in heaven. But the thing that was more interesting than that is that, to me, is that the eyes would automatically go up. And my eyes went up too. It's like, well, what we looking at up here, right? Because I wasn't seeing what they were seeing, which caused me to question. And then there was the teaching, well, you don't question the Bible, you don't question God. But the things that you're telling me don't make sense to me. And so that created a schism between what I thought I knew and what my mind was telling me, and even my spirit was telling me, this just don't make sense. Now, it may make sense to someone else. I'm not saying that it does or doesn't. I'm just saying that to me, it didn't make sense. As a child coming home from church, I can remember looking up in the sky. I just see clouds. I don't know when I ask you where God is and you look up there, what you're looking at. And so that's one example of what caused me to begin to question, to have an awareness that this was the first awareness. I don't know what you're looking at, and I don't think I believe what you believe, because when I go up there, maybe tell me what I'm supposed to see, because I'm not seeing it. And so then I began to get curious. That my first remembrance of that, I probably was maybe 8 or 9 years old, because I remember walking home from church. My mama had me in this little frilly dress and the little lace up black patent leather shoes and little lacy socks. And I remember walking home from church. I got the black patent leather shoes in my hand, swinging them back and forth, and I'm walking in my and I'm walking in my and it's a dirt road. So by that home I was a mess. But I remember I'm walking along this road, and my brothers and I are talking about, well, where do you think God is? And we both, all us looking up in the sky, and nobody is seeing her. But that was an awareness that I don't see what you see. And because at that point I needed to see in order to believe, I couldn't believe what you were believing. And so I began to search even then something different, something that would have meaning for me, right? That I could relate to. And it would be so cool to say that I had a smooth journey in terms of my search, in terms of curiosity, but I didn't. And I went from church to church, religion to religion, looking and questioning what they said. When it got to the point that I could not listen to a sermon without critiquing it, I knew. I knew that I needed to step back. Exactly. And do something different. I needed to do something different. And so I moved beyond the questioning of what I was seeing into the curiosity. Let me find out for myself. Let me find out for myself. And then I went deep into, I almost went to seminary because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what they knew. But as I began to study the different Bibles and commentaries and different pastoral speeches, etc., it's like the only way I'm going to know the truth, I thought at that point, is I need to go back to the beginning of time. And since I couldn't do that, I put it down. I put the religion down and backed away. But there was still that calling, that urge to know more. Because here's the thing, as I said earlier, when you have a spiritual calling, it doesn't go away. It gets stronger. Sometimes it goes a little dormant, but it doesn't go away. It just gets stronger, right? And so then when I was doing all of the studying, I was learning what the pastors were speaking about, but I was also questioning what I was reading, questioning what I was learning. And then I began to shift away from the traditional Bible into other spiritual readings. And now I began to learn different stuff and to unlearn some of the things that I had learned, to question what I had questioned, and began to develop my own. Now I'm getting in touch with my own beliefs. Given everything that you think you know, what do you believe? So basically, I am now starting from rock bottom, right? Building my own foundation. And I don't put my beliefs off on anybody. I believe what I believe. But what I also believe is, in order to have fulfillment, true fulfillment, in order to self-actualize, in order to be what you are here on this earth plane to be, you have to take that journey for yourself. You have to take the journey for yourself.
Yeah, you do. And you slid right into that second part, which is that unlearning. Because, when you realize, you said, okay, I don't think God is up there. Like, I don't see nothing. It doesn't make any sense. Things don't seem to line up with what they've been saying, because it goes back and forth. Because let's be real. I'm going to mute you while you talk, but I'm going to unmute you. Because I think when I muted myself when you were talking, it stopped the echo. I think that's what it is. When you are in church, and any church, I'm going to pull from my experience because I used to be Baptist. And you hear these scriptures and things, and you're being told that God is in heaven, but yet he lives in me. And then greater is he that's in me that's in the world, but he's in heaven. And then Jesus said, greater things will I do than he did, but he's always better than I am. What is going on? I mean, I could go on and on. I'm sure any book that you got some things in there too. And I don't know if any of you ever actually read the Bible. You know, we read the Bible, but typically a lot of people, when they read the Bible, it's cherry picking. Dare I say, you cherry picking. Start at the beginning, go to the end. I dare you, double dog dare, because I've done it, and I'm doing it again. Start at the beginning and go to the end and see how many times man wrote down that God said he wouldn't do something, and 2 months later he's doing it again. If God don't lie, why are you writing stories like that? What was he saying? I ain't gonna do this again, and then he did this again. And I don't care that a lot of people was like, oh, the Bible's not actually written in chronological order. I don't care. If at any time he said he wasn't going to do it, and some beginnings happened, time went forward, and he did it again. But we don't want to talk about things like that. We don't want to discuss how some things are okay and some things weren't okay in the Bible. Things that are morally wrong, if you see it in the street, in the Bible, was just another day. Where do we draw the line here? And not to mention, look how long ago, and I know that some people gonna rustle feathers. Look how long ago the Bible was written. That's first. Put a pin in that. During the Bible times, I'm not sure exactly how many years span that was, but think about how many times God freed us from stuff that we was in bondage for before. So you gonna tell me from then to now, just because somebody ain't writing about it? And you know what? They probably ain't writing about it because people like us are judging people when they get a spiritual download like we some kooks. That's why they stopped reading it. Because they saw John get killed, Peter got killed, Peter got killed, Simon got killed. What do you think they think about it? The changes that were happening. The evolution that was happening. Why do you think slavery started to happen? Why do you think it started to spread? Why do you think resources started going back? Because we stopped talking about the downloads we get from God because we fear what everybody on the outside is going to think about what we got portion. But the thing is, when the book says work out your own salvation, it was the same back then as it is now. Because in one nation, God will order him to kill everybody. And not just everybody. Everybody. I was talking to someone about this other day because they didn't want loiter. They didn't want the sons or the daughters to seek revenge later. It don't matter if they had nothing to do with it or not. God said you got to kill them all because you can't leave nobody behind that will come back and turn back on you. These were orders in the Bible. I'm making this up. Go read it for yourself. It's the most popular unread book ever because we cherry pick. We cherry pick that thing. And I say we degrade it because we want to cherry pick something that's supposed to be holy. You know why it's holy? It's because it's spelling out so many stories of how everybody did it the way they wanted to do it. And now you want to go to the Bible and do it the way they did it again. That's not what it's showing you. Anything is possible. That is why it's the book of possibility. That's why it's the holy. It's holy. It's because everybody in that Bible did it the way they were supposed to do it. They didn't write about John and said John did this because Timothy did that. No, John was like, screw everybody, man. I'm going to killing people. You know what I mean? And I don't care what nobody said about it. And got snatched up and got his name changed. But here we are, reading the Bible, saying this is the word and this is the right. And these are the instructions for how I'm supposed to live my life. No, this is evidence that you can live it however you want. Just stay in alignment with what's growing inside of you. That fire that shut up in your bones. You don't go over the fire that was shut up in somebody else's bones. The fire in your bones. The burning bush in your path that you cannot act like you didn't see. The assignment that you have, even with the speech impediment, even with a disability, even with a limitation, even with no money, no degree, no mama, no daddy, no kids, nothing. if you're here, be like a plant. Don't know how not to grow, and do it from a place of self-actualization so that you can make your imprint just like everybody in the Bible did. That's what that book is about to me. To me. So I don't know. I don't know. What you think, Dr. C? I'm gonna unmute you. Y'all know. There you go. I got you. Go ahead.
I love your perspective, honestly, and I had not thought about it from the perspective of everybody doing it their own way. I think that's a phenomenal way to look at it, consistent with our statement that we are here to share perspectives. What I started reading it, and I had all my commentaries laid out, and I had a couple different Bibles laid out. And then when I got to in the commentary, when they started talking about King James changing it to the way that he wanted it to be, I said, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I'm done. Until then, I was giving it, I was giving it some credence. I remember looking at a documentary where they had all of these religious philosophers and teachers. And one of the things they said that resonated with me then and still resonates with me is that much of the Bible, it's a collection of stories. Much of it is metaphoric. It is not necessarily intended for it to be taken literally as it often is. Now that resonated with me because if it's a metaphor, then I know that it's there to teach me some lessons and to share some insights, and I don't necessarily have to take it literally. So I do, despite the way it may come across, I do have reverence for the Bible, but the Bible is just one holy book. There are other holy books. And when you look at these books, the one thing that comes across for me with regard to all of quote unquote the great literature is there's a common theme. It is about love, loving self and loving others and doing good, uplifting, being a light. May not necessarily say it in those terms, but that's what it's all about. And every religion, even though people do things differently, again, a common thread is love and my God, right? Again, for me earlier, one of the things that didn't make sense to me is, well, whose side is God on? Today he's telling me to kill you. Tomorrow he's telling you to kill me. That was one of those things that I never resolved by looking at the Bible and that kind of traditional spiritual literature. When I have a degree in metaphysics, spiritual metaphysics is my emphasis, my focus. And as I started to read the more metaphysical literature, the literature, some of the books by Thich Nhat Hanh, No Fear, No Death, some of the books, I can't think of his name, but the Four Agreements and some of those other books that I really, really appreciate. What I came to realize is that when you look at life from a metaphysical standpoint, much of what does not make sense in the traditional religion now begins to make sense because we go to the everything is energy, everything is created from this one energetic source. We are all energy, we are all one with source, therefore we're one with each other. And so then the things that are happening aren't happening to us, even though we're having the experience, but it is an experience that is here so that we can learn, expand, evolve, and ultimately it is still all for the good, not just of humans, but for the good of existence. So existence is expanding when we are acting consistently with our calling. and it is shrinking when we are not. So it's kind of a pulsation, right? There's a pulsation because some people, and even the people who are doing, hey, some you're not going to agree with me, and I'm okay with that. Even the people who are doing some evil stuff, that still is their calling in this lifetime. That's their calling, because you cannot know light if you do not also know darkness. It is all on a spectrum, and whether you acknowledge it to yourself or not, we all have, there's the potential for both within us. And to the extent that we go one way or the other, we're not just being tossed about in the wind. It becomes a matter of free choice, free will, which again goes to unlearning some of the things that you have been programmed to learn, to know since birth, and now making a conscious decision that you're going to shift over into the light. Doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect, but for me, every day I strive to be the best that I can be. Some days I do better, and other days I don't. But I keep my goal, the prize for me is to keep striving to be better.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And that's where we slide into that getting curious about your possibilities. You start to get real curious, because when you really realize that if you can dial it back and focus on self, be aware of where you are, what has influenced the way you're feeling, what has been the factors in the way your life is going, and see the different ways that the road was built for you to be on it. Because there's this song, and it says, it's by Ani DeFranco. She's not very well known, but she's absolutely amazing. If you love indie music or guitarist or lyricist, she's absolutely amazing. White lady with locks, beautiful soul. She writes about this song, and she says, "The road rolls out behind me. There's nothing in front of you. We're creating this every day." Get that in your head. Visualize that. There's nothing. You look behind you, and that's your way. This, though, you're creating your way. That was your way. If you can see the way, it was your way. In this moment, you're creating your way. By every choice you make, by every decision you absorb and become, you are doing divots and turns, divots and turns. You know, like when you're in a car and you're on a straightaway. I mean, the road is as straight as it can be, but you're still doing like this with the steering wheel. That's right. And if you go even 1 degree this way too long, you're going to end up in the bushes. I promise you. I don't care how steady you are. Yeah, unless you got one of them sensor cars. Now, I know you got some Teslas out there, and they'll drive you home while you take a nap. We're talking about regular old steering. Okay, you got power steering, but then we ain't in no Tesla, okay? 1 degree in a different direction would change your destination. Now, your destination, guess where that is? It's always where you are right now. And 1 degree can change that. Every moment. Every second. Every heartbeat. This is creation. You are a creator. You're not on the path. You're creating the path, baby. You're creating the path. Make better decisions. Do something different. Go somewhere else. Get rid of people. Like, we got time to be in places, situations, jobs, relationships that we want to be in. This may be the last decision you make. Make it from within. Make it from a place of, I know when I make this decision, I'm going to feel a little lighter. Whew. I know when I make a decision, all hell gonna break loose, but the hell will be gone. Let it break loose. Don't let it hurt you. Let hell break loose. Forget all that. Get to peace. Because sometimes we got to go through the fire, but the one thing that happens when you go through the fire, only the purest parts of you will remain. I'm just telling you. I mean, I'm just talking what I know. I mean, like Dr. Sue said, if you like it, pick it up and eat it. Let it nourish you. But if it don't, discard it. It's not about the seconds and minutes. It's what's inside of you that truly matters. Yes, it is, because we are time. We are love. We are everything. We are holy. We are the decision makers in our life. And it doesn't matter what religion you subscribe to or whether you don't subscribe to one at all. You still make the decision whether you do or whether you don't. So now you tell me who's in control. You tell me that you ain't creating your reality. I don't care if someone would put a gun to your head and said, you're going to do this or you're going to die. You still choose whether you do it or die. You still choose that. I always used to fantasize. Someone actually asked me that question, what I do. Like, if there's something I really want to do, that's like, do it or die. I mean, I think if I die, I know I'm gonna get some good hits in. You know what I mean? Like, cause I'm not just gonna be like, you gotta do it life energetically. If it comes up, let it come out. If it comes up, let it come out so that it doesn't hold you down. Hey, y'all heard that song, Bag Lady, you gonna miss your bus. Cause you can't have me on, cause you got too much stuff. We got to listen to this song. What'd you say?
I hadn't heard that one. Bag Lady, you got too much stuff.
I'm to send it to you. And I'm saying, because we're coming back, and I want you to give your final words, but I want y'all to go to this right here. I put it in the comments. I forget who sent it to me, or if I saw it, I do not know. But I send myself more messages than I send any of you put together. And I came on this one, and I go to this one, I refresh it so that it's not too far. But this right here is showing how a lot of the things within us are the same representative as plants. And how in the Garden of Eden, how he talks about the creation of man and the seedling that we were. And how it's very indicative that God uses such metaphors when he talks about the creation of man. Now, I'm not going to try to quote it, but please go and look at this. And it talks about how to listen to the creation story from a perspective of parables. And I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. I want you to inbox me and tell me what you think. Everybody who hears this and does the replay, go click on this link right here. And then inbox me and tell me what you think, because it will. Even if you absolutely don't believe it, I guarantee you're going to find yourself thinking about something in it after that video goes off. And it's beautiful to think about because we are so expansive. And when you look at the comparison between creation and the way that man was created, like literally, in the Bible, they just talk about a rib. That's the only thing they talk about is a rib. And not the heart, not the legs, not the so he took a rib and we're like, not the rib, and didn't hear nothing else about nothing. No hand or eyes. Just ribs. Walking around, just ribs. It doesn't make no sense. Wait a minute, where is it again? This link right here, you gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to it, and it will touch you. It will touch you. It will touch you. So, Dr. Sue, before we close out, just give the people your heart.
Well, my heart. Yeah. Now, I know that we had a deep conversation tonight, and I know that some of it was received and some of it may not have been. And I need you to know that we're okay with that. We present perspectives based on our experience, which may not be your experience, but what we encourage you to do is not to take what we say as truth. It is simply to use it as perhaps a springboard into your own beingness, into your own curiosity. And if you find a need based on your understanding, If you find a need to examine yourself more deeply, then we support you in doing that. If you think you're good, we support you in being good. If at some point you later decide, oh, I need to go back, and the seed that they threw initially fell on rocky ground and I didn't get any of it, but now maybe one seed went into the earth and I see a little green thing coming up, we're going to call that a plant, then go back and water that plant. There is something to be said for having an awareness of who you be and how you be. We're talking about self-actualization here. And unfortunately, society does not often encourage that. Society, if you think of a pyramid, then the top of the pyramid for most people is achievement, whatever that goal is. What we're talking about is something that transcends the goal, transcends the material, something that's going to really connect you with the God that is within you. Because again, I believe that God is within all of us, but I believe also that there's one creator that combines us all. So if this makes you in the least bit curious about who you be, how you want to be, then that is a rupture between the past and the present right now. Look at it, open it up a little bit wider, become curious about what you know, what you think you know, where that came from, who it came from, whether you want to keep it, whether you want to get rid of it. And whatever it is you decide, if you feel that there's something that you need to unlearn or someone, let it go. And if you think you're good, embrace yourself and love yourself. Love yourself to the utmost that you can. Because again, self-love is also necessary in order for you to self-actualize. Because if you don't love yourself, you're never going to be able to reach your highest potential. And then on the other hand, if you feel that there is something that you want to grow some more, to expand some more, just take what we have given you, or not, take something else and use that as a springboard into your future self. See the you that you want to be and then move toward it. I'm loving on it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, y'all, this has been amazing. My heart is full as always, and my cup runneth over. So, I just wanted to say one thing because I wrote it down. I was like, I'm just gonna move into the closing, but Dr. Sue touched on something about God, and it just in an instant, it took me back to, I felt like someone out there had the feeling that I had when someone told me God was up there, but greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. And sometimes a lot of us get hung up on the connect to the God within you, and then they have the God within them, and then they got a God within them, and they got a God within them. Wait a minute, now how in the hell are we all one? How are we all connected? So what I want to offer to you is, my question to you is, did you in school, and do you still believe in the structure of an atom? Because if you do, inside of atoms, there's mostly space. Now think about that. If we're all made up of them, of atomic particles, and mostly what's in it is space, yeah, here we are solid. One whole entity. But there's space in between me and you. We're still one entity. We're still one entity. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, soul to soul. We're all going back in this dirt. I don't care if you're cremated. I don't care if you're buried. I don't care how you get out of here. There's going to be some dushes and ashes that will remain. And you're going here. And what's inside? It's all going out here. All of this. All the space is divine. Even the space in between where we are right now and where we're going is still one journey. So don't be fearful of where you are. And don't be fearful of the next decision you make. Just be aware, number one, that you're making it. Unlearn what someone else tried to tell you had to do and how you had to do it. And then get curious about how you can do it different. Awareness. Unlearn. get curious. And let me know how I feel, because I bet you it's going to feel so good. So I think we got to make one announcement before we get out here. Me and Dr. Sue got an announcement to make real fast. 2 of them, actually. Number 1, we're doing a midnight meditation. It's $20.24. As we go into 2024, we will go in meditation. And she and I are doing 3 meditations that night. We're doing it for Eastern time, we're doing it for Central time, and we're doing it for Pacific time. At your respective midnight. When midnight strikes in your time zone, there will be a Zoom open that you can register for. I will drop the link by noon Central time tomorrow. That is a promise. You can come and you can enjoy all 3, or you can just come at your respective midnight, however you want to do it. But we are going to provide this space for those who choose to invest that time into themselves. Have you ever went into the new year, meditate, Dr. Sue? Like actually be with it.
I haven't.
And I'm excited about it like Santa's on the way. You hear me?
No,
it is going to be an amazing time. And we're actually going to be in the meditation. So it's going to be an experience. There's going to be time to share. It's going to be time to journal. All those things. Look for the link tomorrow. And then the second thing is the late night happy hour with Carrie Irene and Dr. Sue is going to be moving offline come February the 1st. More details will be coming, but it will be within an amazing offer that we have really been charged to give. Because a lot of times people don't take advantages of opportunities because we don't give them enough. We don't give people enough opportunities to invest the time into themselves, to get the understanding that they need, to ask the questions that they need to ask. Because we're on here and we're saying stuff, but in the moment, if you have a question, sometimes you need to ask the question. And we want to provide this space because we don't want you leaving here confused. We don't want you leaving here frustrated. We want you to come to a place where you can empty out and make room so that when you leave, you got space to create, to get curious, to see what can be next. And we want to help provide that space because we know how important it was, because me and Sue both say consistently how we wish we would have had a space to. There ain't no amount of money I wouldn't have come up with if I knew that there was a space that would help me to be where I am right now when I was, 15, 16, seriously. But we're in this part of our lives where we have pointed out the bullshit. And now we're like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm going to do this my way. And if you need support to do that, that's what we're providing for you. It'll be the same time. It'll be for 2 hours on Fridays. But again, like I said, we're going to drop more information to you. So that is all we got tonight. I absolutely love you. She did it last year. Is that Teresa? I feel the energy. I think my phone is all the way at the door, but I feel Teresa energy. I don't know, but I didn't want to expect, but I wanted to say it just in case I'm right. All right, guys. We love you guys so much, and we look forward to y'all being back with us again next week, same time, same channel, and until February the 1st. So we're going to see y'all. Absolutely amazing.
Carrie.
Alright, so for y'all that don't know me, I can be a whole vibe, right? And you know why I'm a whole vibe? Why do you think I'm a whole vibe? You don't know? Anybody got a guess of why? Because the energy, because I'm fly, because what else? What else we got? Because I'm Carrie. That's why. I'm a whole vibe because I decided to just be me.
ATBA Impact Group is an extension of my inner calling to create a space for people to truly be themselves authentically without having to ask permission from anyone, not worrying about what anyone's going to think about it. That's what makes the resources at HBA Impact Group so rich, because the only requirement is to be authentic. And when someone is looking for you to be more authentic because it pleases your soul, it makes it so much better to show up that way, so much easier to show up that way. Because being oneself, I found, for me, has been the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Yet when I mastered just being who I am, it's accompanied with such ease. And that is the way of HBA. We want to create an environment where everybody belongs there. And that is our focus. We're planting positive seeds of change on a consistent basis in order to continuously eliminate competition through collaboration. And we have mastered that because we have focused on mastering ourselves. And then we can just show up and do that, knowing that no one else can do that.
You know, as I was thinking about what we are doing, it really is an opportunity for people to connect with their beingness. We are not conscious of the compartmentalization. We just say, this is who I am, right? Who you are is different depending on the environment that you find yourself in or the people that you find yourself connected with. So I hold myself out as an example. You know, at 71 years old, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey to self-acceptance. And I think it may be that way for many of us, that we look at the pieces of ourselves and decide, I can show that, no, I can't show that. Is there a danger? How deep is the danger if I show you all of me? Oh, I can show these people this part of me, and these people this part of me, and these people this part of me. And then the question is, how long before you get tired of just compartmentalizing your beingness?